In the late Cretaceous period, dominated by speed and strength, thrilling life-and-death chases were played out daily across the land. However, on the edge of the desolate and quiet Gobi, there existed a completely opposite miracle of life. It possessed an extreme slowness that puzzled all predators, yet it had safely lived through countless autumns and springs in the harsh natural laws. Tonight, let us listen to the gently jumping fire and this story that does not require effort to remember, and enter its true life. This is the life of the Unmongosaurus, a gentle life naturally carrying a slow-motion gene, silently maintaining tranquility in the dark night. When the sky full of stars replaced the harsh sunlight, and the Earth's temperature began to dissipate, the time truly belonged to it began. Scientists' fossils revealed its strange and slightly clumsy skeleton, but they could not restore its unhurried elegance in the deep night. It never used running to fight for territory, nor did it use roaring to vent fear. It lived its life as a soothing lullaby. At this moment, the day's hustle and bustle have long sunk underground with the setting sun, and the outline of the distant mountains has become soft and blurred in the night. That plump, calm-eyed Unmongosaurus is standing quietly deep within a thick ancient shrub. It does not need to prove anything to the world, nor does it intend to cater to the cruel torrent of the times, it just breathes according to its own rhythm. For the next period, there will be no intense conflicts, nor merciless twists of fate, only its long dark night. When your thoughts sink along with its extremely slow movements, you will find that sleep is actually an extremely natural thing. The first crack driving Unmongosaurus's fate towards ultimate tranquility occurred on a very ordinary evening. At that time, a huge, pathologically dark red setting sun was hanging on the horizon, and the air was filled with the oppressive current of an approaching thunderstorm. On the distant plain, herds of predators were borrowing the last of the light to wildly chase the panicked herbivorous dinosaur groups. The entire earth was slightly shaking, and countless weak lives were mercilessly trampled, torn, and swallowed in the torrent of the times. However, the young Unmongosaurus was stubbornly staying on the edge of the shrubs, allowing its companions beside it to urge it, but it refused to speed up even half a step. That naturally carrying, engraved in the bones slow pace, in that moment filled with crisis and anxiety, seemed so out of place, even a bit ridiculous. Its mother had tried to use her body to push it forward, but its limbs were like ancient tree roots deeply rooted in the ground, heavy and resolute. At that moment it watched helplessly as the torrent of the herd disappeared at the end of the canyon, while it was left alone in the encroaching boundless darkness. This was an extremely abnormal identity choice. In everyone's view, life that could not keep up with speed was destined to become the first fire to be extinguished in the dark night. But in the huge and deep eyes of the Unmongosaurus, there was no sign of panic, only an almost cold calm. It slowly lowered its head, leisurely picking up a remaining tender leaf from the trampled grass, and chewing it extremely slowly in its mouth. The day world was filled with cruelty with speed, while it, at the starting point of the black night, built an invisible defense wall for itself with extreme slowness. It began to understand that blind running cannot bring true safety, but rather will exhaust the last of life's energy in endless anxiety. So, it turned around, one step by one step, with an almost wholly slow pace, walking towards the depths of that silent shrub. Deep night thoroughly ruled this ancient land, and the daytime violence and cruelty were gently covered by darkness. The Unmongosaurus stopped in front of a giant, low shrub hung with deep purple ancient fruits. The surrounding air was cold and clear, and the gentle wind on the Gobi beach blew through the leaves, making a rustling sound like waves hitting the shore. It slowly extended that plump forelimb, with 3 sharp but rounded claws, its movement so slow it was like a static oil painting. That forelimb moved in the air for a full few minutes before finally gently and steadily touching that fruit shimmering with weak light under the moonlight. Its claws were usually used for self-defense, but at this moment, it retracted all power perfectly, appearing extremely delicate and gentle. It, extremely slowly, closed its claws, using the side of its fingertips to gently lean against the fruit's skin, and then began to peel off that hard shell with an almost faint range. That unhurried action, as if in this world, peeling this fruit was the only thing existing and the only thing worth completing at this very moment. The surrounding quiet night, in this instant, seemed to be infinitely elongated by its action, and even the flow of time became extremely sticky. A small insect, also belonging to the night, quietly perched on the scales of its forelimb, its antenna slightly shaking, but not at all startled away by this giant creature. Nymongosaurus's heart was extremely resolute. It knew in this deep night, no danger could break this sense of solitude personally woven by it. Its psychology became incredibly tough over long evolution. Outside disturbances had nothing to do with it, it only lived in this inch-square place beneath its feet. Its body's every scale reflected a gentle, dull luster in the night, its skin relaxing with every weak breath of the earth. That slow pace emanating from the bone marrow, fighting the anxiety of the times, began to seep inch by inch into the surrounding air along with its action. As the night grew deeper, the sky was covered with brilliant and dense stars, a pure firmament never seen by modern humans. The Nymongosaurus finally peeled off the fruit's shell, revealing the plump, faintly fragrant fruit flesh inside. However, it was not in a hurry to send the fruit flesh into its mouth, but slightly closed its eyes, its long neck, extremely slowly, drooping down. It gently pressed its forehead against the thick shrub branch, allowing the cool night dew to slowly slide down its cheek, taking away a trace of heat lingering from the day. At this moment, it was experiencing a special psychological ritual unique to Nymongosaurus, regulating its breathing and heart rate in the deep night. What was it thinking? Maybe it was recalling the back of the herd disappearing that evening, or maybe it was thinking nothing at all, just purely feeling the rhythm of life. In that era worshipping survival of the fittest, every one of its kind was, exhausted, running east and escaping west for whether they could live tomorrow. Only it, in this forgotten shrub, found a power relationship belonging to itself, the absolute control over its own time. It did not need to cater to the pace of any predator, nor did it need to prove its value to its kind. Its existence itself was a silent struggle. Its breathing began to become deeper and deeper, slower and slower, each inhalation as if to incorporate the solitude of the entire starry sky into its broad chest. And each exhalation was accompanied by an extremely low, calm throat sound, slowly undulating in the empty ancient wasteland. That sound had an indescribable fate, like the earth itself in thousands of years of frost and snow, uttering a long sigh of relief. Those ancient mammals hiding in the depths of the dirt, listening to this regular and serene boom, all fell into the deepest, safest dreamland. For they knew, as long as this gentle titan was still breathing at this rhythm, this night was absolutely safe, no danger dared to approach. The night deepened to its ultimate moment, the cold and intoxicating blind zone before dawn. The Nymongosaurus slowly opened its eyes, the moon now having inclined westward, pulling out an extremely gentle, long shadow of its huge and slightly bloated body. It finally sent that fruit, which had been peeled for a long time, into its mouth, with no violent tearing, only extremely slow, meticulous repeated chewing. The juice's aroma slowly spread in its mouth, that sense of satisfaction making a refined expression faintly appear on its broad cheek. It enjoyed nature's gift at the slowest speed in its life, every action of swallowing like a profound tribute to life. In this deep night deciding fate, it used its own way to break the dinosaur world survival paradox. Slow does not mean extinction, but rather a more advanced concealment. It completely integrated itself into this shrub, into the sound of the wind, into the night, becoming an inseparable symbol of this ancient night. At this time, those daytime betrayals, those abandonments, those misunderstandings of its slowness, were all completely dissolved under this pure starry sky. It did not need anyone to understand it, because this ancient earth had already given it the most just and profound embrace with the most gentle dark night. Its sturdy hind limb slightly bent, its plump body began to sink down bit by bit, finally steadily, lying on the ground covered with dry fallen leaves. At the instant the ground touched its body, it made an extremely muffled, rubbing sound, making one feel incomparably solid. It spread its long neck smoothly by its side, its head quietly pillowing on a piece of soft dirt, its eyes again slowly, heavily closing. Its body completely relaxed at this moment, all muscles losing their tense power, only its chest still maintaining an extremely slow rise and fall. That was a pure tranquility that transcended the limits of the species, slowly soothing every weary soul through the long time-space echo. When the edge of the distant horizon began to secretly show a very elegant, near-transparent fish-belly white, this long night was finally drawing its curtain. The Nymongosaurus still quietly, lying, deep within the shrub, its breathing already weak enough to almost integrate with the morning breeze, difficult to distinguish. The daytime world was about to revive, with cruel competition and endless running again dominating that vast plain. But in these past dozens of minutes, this ancient giant, naturally carrying the slow-motion gene, used its lifetime to open an eternal clean land for us in this cold world. With that plump claw, that fruit peeled for a long time, and that unhurried pace, it answered all the riddles we posed in the preface. It left no earth-shaking legend, nor left any awe-inspiring fame, it merely left the ultimate tenderness and certainty to this earth that embraced it. Now, the story's voice is gradually fading, and that tens of millions of years old Cretaceous memory should also return to the depths of dirt and fossils to sleep. But the tranquility that Erliansaurus left in the night will turn into the gentlest evening wind at your pillow, long guarding your sleep. Do not think any more about tomorrow's narrowness and rush, nor worry any more about daytime mistakes. In this world, slowing down is also an irreplaceable dignity. Its long neck will always be on the edge of your dreams, shielding you from the dust of the world. Its deep breathing will be your most solid companion tonight. Now, please completely relax your every nerve, allowing boundless drowsiness like a warm tide to completely, gently wrap you in this ancient dream cured by the dark night. Sleep peacefully. Good night, in this silent long night belonging to you. Good night, may you have a most pure, most sweet dream.